Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends, and thank goodness Wickham weren't playing as well. Got my drink. If you remember, this time it's Brewdog. I actually go to this pub at the Black Heart. That's what they've named it after, and it's their version of Guinness. We'll come to that in one moment. Of course, we've got. I keep going to say Gareth Ainsworth, but it isn't. It's Gareth Southgate. No. Gareth Southgate. The question has to be, are the players just way too good for Gareth Southgate? That has to be the question. So we'll deal with that. And we also had Wickham's last game against Northampton. Anybody remember the score?
Seeing as this is a Wickham Wanderers podcast and we don't know the score to our last game, it's not great, is it? It was 1-0, wasn't it?
It was.
It was that crappy goal.
It was. Yeah. It was. Yeah, 1-0. We didn't get our striker that we wanted, did we?
No, don't know what happened with Big Uche.
Uche, yeah, we missed him.
Whatever his name is. No, we didn't. So gonna have to live off.
Slog it is the word, isn't it? Let me have a drink.
Live off Taylor and Vokes for the next foreseeable future.
I know that's bad, isn't it? Now, if you want to know what this, the Black Heart in Camden is a pub I go to for terrific music, and they've actually named it after the pub. I think this is where Brewdog, I think, might have started in Camden. Now, this is their version of Guinness. I'm keeping it away from the microphone. We had trouble last time. Look at that. That is good stuff. And I've had some of this before. It's really cheap, and you can, of course, buy it in most supermarkets. And that is good. That's about £5 for 4 of the big cans. And I'll say something else a bit more. You didn't watch the England game, did you?
Oh, no. That's a shame.
Why didn't you watch the England game?
Because I don't really care.
Do we care?
We care in the sense that if we don't get there, it would be annoying. But do we care about qualifiers and all that sort of thing now? No, we don't.
We qualify, don't we?
We qualify. In saying that, we've won every game apart from that one, haven't we? And if it's a game at Wembley and you've got the crowd behind it and all that, then we will win. The away games are potentially not so much. I mean, that one, there was a lot of stuff to do with Ukraine and all that. So fine, fair enough. They definitely had the crowd back in there. And it just bewilders you that we can have, what was our front four? It was Kane, Maddison, Saka, and was it Grealish? Can't remember.
No, not Grealish.
No, it was someone else who would have been good at football, and yeah, we create very, very little. And the goal scorer is Kyle Walker, which isn't
first goal for England. Yeah. First goal for England ever.
Good for him, but it's not a brilliant sign.
Kane's pass was spot on, and where he passed the ball from, he threaded it through. Brilliant, just over his own halfway line. Now, I've always complained about how he keeps coming back for the ball. I don't think he had a choice in this game. He was never going to get the ball and score a goal. That was the problem. He never was. We had the ball so much. And the word sluggish is a word, I think we've used it many a time with England. And I can't help. I mean, okay, let's just quickly discuss. We're not going to spend very long on here. Who did he pick? Maguire. What the hell was Maguire doing playing with an England shirt on his back? Did he have another choice?
Stones wasn't there, was he?
No, he couldn't play.
We do lack centre back, so can't be.
Can you think of any other? Who would you have used? Well, that's the question.
The thing is like
everybody has a go at him for having picked Maguire, but did he have any other choice?
I'm trying to think of the choice he had. He has the the thing is that there is a pressure on him to use players from the big teams because there's a reason they'll be at the big teams, and obviously Maguire is one of them. You have your Liverpool centre backs are Van Dijk, Canate. City centre backs, you have Stones as your only English person there. United, you have Maguire, who doesn't really play. Arsenal, Ben White. Ben White should be in the squad, but he does play right back, and we have far too many right backs, and just whacking him at centre back for England probably isn't the thing you want to do, but probably is necessary. It's not like you couldn't play at centre back. Who are the other teams? Spurs don't have any English centre backs unless we're counting Dyer, but they're not going to play him.
Give me Maguire any day of the week.
Yeah, and then what's the last Big 16? Chelsea, and they who knows who they've got, to be honest with you. So he doesn't have an awful lot of selection from the big teams. The only name in my head that keeps coming to me is the Brighton centre back, Dunk.
He was on the bench, I think.
Yeah. Who is a bit surprising that he hasn't gone to a bigger club yet. Because I think there has been interest in him. He just hasn't.
Would you have picked him first?
Will I pick him over Maguire? Probably, I guess. I don't think Maguire's bad at football, to be honest with you. But you do have to pick players based on what they're doing for their club as well. And he hasn't been playing for his club, so it's impossible. It should be impossible to pick him.
So do you pick a team based on the first few games of the season, or do you pick a team that you like playing and think do all right?
You should pick a team.
Or is it a mix?
You should pick a team that, I think this earlier on the season, you should just pick your starting 11. Like, you should know your main starting 11. He obviously doesn't know that.
Because the Crystal Palace was the other guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did he play all right? But yeah, he was all right. But the major problem with the two, I showed you a graph of all their passes, both the players, all their passes. Gay, did you say his name was?
Gay,
yeah. He made more passes than Maguire. But both, you saw the graph, they were all sideways. I called Maguire sideways Maguire, but that was a fact, wasn't it? He only lost the ball. Maguire only kicked the ball to one of their players twice, and they were the twice times, bad English, he passed it forward.
Well,
okay.
Evidently, the idea from Southgate is you go wides to your fullbacks and wides to your wingers and all that sort of thing. But there is the players don't do that on purpose. Like playing football even on like a Monday night or six-side or whatever, your first instinct is to look up and to look forward. And that'll be for professional footballers as well. So they wouldn't do that unless they were told play sideways and play to your fullbacks. And so that's what they did. But
is it because they can't? These two are risky to do it any other way.
I don't think it is. Maybe it is risky in the sense that you're up against international opposition and all that sort of thing. And it is a riskier thing to do to go through the middle than it is to go out wide. But if it comes off, then you're in. Whereas going out wide takes a heck of a lot longer and evidently doesn't tend to work as often. I don't think that's suggestive that the players didn't do anything wrong themselves. They obviously were just sluggish. But the reason I think they are sluggish is because they're told to do all these things that they'd rather not do. And so in your mind, you just become a little bit more, I don't want to have to do that, but I have to do it. And so you're a little bit more tentative about doing it. And so that's why I think under Southgate, it just becomes a ball. Because the players don't buy into it. I mean, after the Euro final that we lost, the number of tweets that Jack Grealish liked about like this England system being crap and all that sort of thing. But the players will all say one thing about him in the media, but they can't enjoy it. You're telling me that Grealish and Stones and all them, go from being managed by Pep to then Southgate England are like, oh, I can buy into this. They're not going to.
So we didn't. So picking Maguire, as much as everybody's jumping up and down, didn't. Yeah,
It's not
apart
that bad
from
as a
Dunk,
decision.
there wasn't a lot else
No.
he was left with.
No.
Okay, so who would be the two you would have if all were fit? English
Obviously Stones,
and then we're stuck
and
again, aren't we?
then it's
Maguire or Dunk?
it was like when because we always had Terry and Ferdinand fell out of the English squad completely, and so it was between like I think we had Matthew Upson as like our next one. It kind of goes. It's not like he was bad. It just falls down to a level that isn't quite what you had before.
So we really don't have a system, do we? That we can't play a different system. Again, what I saw a lot of write-ups was he needed to change the system. But the actual system of playing like wing backs, three at the back, centre backs, he can't do that because he doesn't have enough to pick two.
No.
So he can't play three centre backs. That's the system with wing backs. He's out.
He's put Walker there before and Shaw there before at centre back. In all honesty, can we say what he needs to do? It's a bit difficult. I mean, things your front like 4 or 5 in our team should be really, really good. You have Kane, you have Grealish, Sterling's leaving in the squad. Maddison, you have Foden.
He's got a lot of
Saka.
choice up front, but he
Bellingham.
doesn't. He's got a problem with that back line.
He just has problems with centre backs.
Centre backs.
Chilwell and Shaw are more than capable left backs. He has right backs in abundance. It's just centre backs that he does struggle with.
I mean,
that midfield three is absolutely fine. You have Rice, Bellingham, and Henderson. I know people don't like it being Henderson, whatever. But I mean, we have centre mids.
A lot of complaints about Henderson as well. A lot of complaints saying how can you play somebody from Saudi Arabia who's hardly up and playing fast football. I have to say, I think, that's an argument in a few months' time, but not an argument now. He's been up and training with Liverpool all the summer, and it's only the last couple of weeks he hasn't played Premier League football, 4 games or whatever, but he was training just like all the other players with a top Premier League team until recently, until the last few weeks. So I actually think that isn't an argument. It's whether you think Henderson's too old and had it.
More the argument is that he's 33, 34.
Yeah.
And you do need another centre mid to come in.
In 2 years' time, 3 years' time, you got to start looking other places. So I would question using him anyway. But when I thought about it, I thought, okay, to have somebody like Henderson in the back line, a captain, decent captain in that back line. And I don't think Maguire counts as a decent captain.
Do you want to rephrase that? Because that makes no sense. What do you mean in the back line? He's not going to play centre back, is he?
No, but in that back here, when the ball starts coming this way, you need a captain. And it strikes me is your other choice is Bellingham, who's 20?
Yeah, but he's more.
He's up front anyway. So you've got Rice, you've got Chilwell, Gahey, Maguire.
I don't think there's a lack of leadership, particularly
Walker.
I think Bellingham is a leader. I think Rice is definitely becoming that. Walker, I would say, certainly is. Potentially, you do need one of your centre backs to be the kind of speaker amongst you. I don't know if Maguire is going to be doing that or not. The fact of the matter is that we conceded 2 shots during the whole game. We conceded 1 of them, and realistically, we should be scoring. Like you might concede to Ukraine once, but you should also probably expect to score 4.
Yeah. I was disappointed with Maddison, but in all fairness, the system didn't work for him. I think Bellingham had been told to run around where you like, and it just didn't quite happen, and it just became too slow. It was like, when you were younger and in a football team, and we used to sort of say, you pass it to the person next to you, mate, make it safe, pass to that isn't what you do in international football. The one time they took a risk with a pass of putting it round and through and working out where that guy's going was Kane picking out Walker to score a goal.
Yeah.
Rarely did you see. It's all well and fine to run the ball up the side and put the cross in. We've discussed on this programme before, always worth looking up if you're interested. Look how many crosses don't create goals, and it's tons and tons and tons. And Arsenal know that because a couple of years ago they put more crosses in that box than any other team 2 seasons ago, and it was hundreds of crosses, and they never scored a goal from a cross. And that does not work.
No.
And so what happened when England were desperate to score a goal? I'll tell you what he did. He took off Bellingham, Saka, and Maddison. Okay, this is when we needed to score a goal. He took those 3 off, and he brought on Rashford, Foden, and Gallagher. Which 3 would you have swapped for which 3?
You take off Henderson for Foden. You bring on Rashford for. You can bring on.
You see, Henderson stayed the whole game.
Yeah.
You see, so he kept the ones at the back.
You can bring on Rashford for Maddison. That's fine because Maddison's not a winger. I don't really know why he played in the wing in the first place. And then Gallagher for Bellingham doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense, to be honest.
No, and nor Saka. Why you'd take Saka off, I do not know. If there were 2 players that were ever going to create a goal, it was Saka and Bellingham.
This is why, because you talk about Kane dropping in, this is why this is where I sound biased and say that you have to have someone in your back 4 or 5 who's going to whip in some ridiculous looking cross or ball to someone that shouldn't really happen. The only person who's capable of doing that from the back is Trent. So you do have to play Trent.
I would have been interested to have actually taken Kane off, to be honest, because Kane hadn't hardly had a touch, and he was obviously never going to score ever, and that wasn't necessarily his fault. But I was wondering about the guy that is it not Wood? Wilson. I wondered whether direct would have been a far better.
He's not direct though. I don't think he's better than Kane at anything.
No. So what we're saying is nothing wrong with the team, really. Nothing wrong with the team, really, that he picked.
He just needs to give the team some freedom to do what they want.
Okay. Next, then. If he's never going to give the job up. But anyway, if he was
if he doesn't do anything in the next Euros, he will go.
Oh, well, let's be honest. We'll get through and then we'll lose. But is there a team in the Premier League that would have him as their manager?
Yeah.
You think?
Teams would. I'm not saying they should, but teams would.
Top 6?
No.
Does that mean if he's not a top 6 manager, should he be managing a top international football team?
No. But then this is the problem you have with international football. It's that managers who should be managing a top 6 team don't want to manage an international team straight away.
Klopp doesn't want to do Germany, does he?
I think he does at some point, but he doesn't want to yet. Because Pep wants to manage an international team, but he doesn't want to yet.
Because interesting, Germany have just kicked their manager out today.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I didn't realise they'd done it.
Yeah, that was done today. Hardly surprising, really. But again, I looked at what he's got choice-wise, and I thought, well, the poor bloke, nobody's going to succeed in Germany, to be honest.
Their team's not at all what it was.
No. So. Which is, when Germany was strong, they won. England, I think, are strong enough. And I'm just worried this wave of great stuff up front will not be enough with the manager we've got.
At the end of the day, we've had a team that over the past
6 years.
Well, not even that. Ever since you win the World Cup this is why you should turn your phone off.
I know.
Ever since we won the World Cup in 1966, we've had a team that should have won something at some point. Not even just now. Our team between, you could say, the 2016 team was a bit crap. But other than that, every team should have been competing to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
In some respect.
Okay, that's international football. I think we'll leave that there. Wycombe, well, yeah, keep drinking. Next.
We've won 3 games in a row.
I know. I do think that will come back and bite us. A bit like being given the penalties when I think it adds up in the end. We're winning games because other teams are cocking it up. And I think we'll play the teams that don't cock it up shortly. I talked to people about the Northampton game and they were just shocked how bad we were, and we won. I've seen that, Bristol Rovers, etc. And I just think, as far as I know, if we played any good games, I mean, even Sutton came along. We put our strong team out. Even Sutton came along and beat us. I don't think that was a lucky one-off, in all honesty. I think we're in trouble this year. We've missed the Cambridge game, of course. That was due to yesterday. They've already given that a date, and that's on Tuesday. Next one is Northampton away.
No, it's Blackpool.
Blackpool at home, right.
You just played Northampton.
We did, yes, we did, and missed Cambridge, yeah. So it's Blackpool at home on the 16th. So we've done the dreadful England match. We'll do another chit chat after we've been to see Blackpool. Are you coming?
Probably.
I mean,
so.
Put a bit of effort in
I
here,
love football.
Because
yeah.
In the end, we did get our perfect weekend last weekend, didn't we? Because we did have Wycombe win, we had Liverpool win, we had Arsenal win, and Manchester United lose. And that was a game worth discussing, but we won't. We'll just laugh.
It was good.
It was good. I loved every moment of that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. One last thing to say as it's melting away here. Next, this was like I say, Brewdog Blackheart. You've got the picture in the frame. This is the one for next time. And this is also a Tesco's. I will go to Morrison's next time and get something from there. This is a Brewdog as well, and it's called Arcade Made. Never had it. It's a double dry hopped, and it's an 8%. So that's definitely a Sunday night one, ready for your Monday job. So Arcade Made. Never had that one. Be interesting. This one, sweeter than a Guinness, a little bit lighter than a Guinness, and in fact I prefer it than a Guinness, and it works out to about £1.30 a can. Definitely worth it. And So it's a nice stout, and it's a 4.1%. So we'll leave you with that. Kieran, say goodbye. Goodbye. And I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.